Hi, my name's Dave Boardman, and I want to welcome you to a demonstration on how to discover, prioritize, and remediate the WannaCry ransom attack. So let's start with discovery. In a customer environment, we'd expect to find one or two new vulnerabilities every day, and therefore we would run a report to find them. So here we're in the operational console, and we'd expect to see one or two new vulnerabilities introduced every day, but we're also going to look for vulnerabilities that were introduced about 2 months ago. So let's run the vulnerability detector against the demo model. And I think what you'll see here is that as we go through this, we can identify the 5 Microsoft vulnerabilities that are related to the WannaCrypt attack. If we then run a search using that VD analysis and we run it against the demo model, what we can see is that there are approximately 2,000 vulnerabilities that are associated with that particular WannaCrypt ransomware. So now let's see them in the model. So we want to have a quick view of these vulnerabilities and look at them in a certain way. So as a demonstration, we want to have a quick view of that type of vulnerability that we can get back to quickly. And we do that by creating a vulnerability analysis that incorporates all of the related vulnerability definitions. So let's jump to that analysis, and notice we're still in vulnerability control. So here you can see the dictionary update showing the 5 new vulnerabilities that are related to the MS-17010. We can see that there are 6 vulnerabilities and 5 of them are critical. And all of them were reported on March 17, 2017, and that's important. This is the first day that they were out and released and reported by Microsoft. You can see that all of them had a criticality of 9.8. Now from an exploitability perspective, we can see that the knowledge about the exploit was available 1 month later, during which time it was available for exploit in the wild, and this is according to NSA data. So 1 month later, we knew that this could lead to an exploit because that had already been reported. And there was already a proven kit available that explained how to use this exploit. By May 12th, we could see that the kit had become ransomware. If we walk through the history, we can see all of the reporting that was brought into Skybox from the vendors, from the scanners, from Microsoft, and we can just walk back and just see when all this information was put in place. This is the Microsoft bulletin, and then you'll see the IPS signatures from the 21st of March, and you can also see network blocking of that particular attack. We can also go back to yesterday and we can see the Windows XP patch updated in Skybox. So what's clear here is that we had a lot of information loaded into Skybox over the last 60 days that was available to show this. So we should now go to the Priority Center to see how this has affected our network. So here we're looking at the risk and the exploitability. We expect over time that that type of vulnerability will show up fairly high on the scale. This is an analysis of our current organization. Now we can see that the status of the organization has jumped to very high once we discovered that vulnerability. And we suspect this will be about the same for most customers who discover that vulnerability as far as 4 months back. And that would show up as highly at risk in this kind of model. And this would also be due to the lengthy list of vulnerabilities related to MS-170.10. And we can see we have 146 of them exposing our environment. And if we look at the breakdown, we can see these are the top exploits right now impacting our organization. The top 5 of them are related, and 146 of them have been found, and 21 of them have already been mitigated. If we want to drill down further, we can see all of the servers that have been affected in our organization. And we can see here that most of them are actually Windows 8 workstations. From an exposure perspective, we can see that all of those vulnerabilities were included in that exploit. We had an attack analysis running to cover the various vectors of this type of exposure. So an exposure to an attack from the internet or a third party at the stage was not open, thereby preventing exposure to a vulnerability from the outside. We can see here a list of found vulnerabilities. Now, if we want to focus just on this WannaCry attack, we can create a dedicated KPI. Let's go through the process of creating that KPI. We go to Skybox Management and Security Metrics, and we create a new KPI. And we go to Custom Remediation Level Indicator. And we're going to define here a filter list of capabilities that we want to define and measure the KPI on. This is going to be our list of vulnerabilities that we've already identified. These vulnerabilities will be part of that analysis. And we can already see that 152 hosts are going to be affected as a result. Once we create the KPI and we highlight it and activate it, we can change our view from an overall view to a very specific one. Which will just focus on WannaCry. And we can see now that we've got an indicator of high risk with high exploitability. However, we have a good perimeter in place, and so therefore we know that we're not exposed. From an organizational perspective, we can actually now drill down and we can see that most of the vulnerabilities are actually in the US division of the organization. And if we drill down further, we can see that it's actually going to go down to the IT department. And we can see categorically it's actually affecting our Windows workstations and not affecting our Unix or any other workstations or servers. So what we have now is an issue of mitigation in that particular area of the network. And we can also see the mitigation from a timeline perspective, and it's clear that the mitigation has actually just started. And finally, we want to talk about access rules. And what we've created here is an analysis to show the access vector for this particular set of rules. And this will help to show us any firewall rules that can be abused through this attack. And we can run this rule against our firewalls, and we can see here that there are 3 potential firewalls that are vulnerable. These firewalls have rules that have potential problems that could allow bias between different parts of the network and therefore cause an exposure. Thank you for watching this demonstration. We at Skybox hope that this helped you prevent an attack from the WannaCry ransomware and any future attacks. Please visit skyboxsecurity.com for any further information. Thank you.